call my power back to me from every person, place, entity, from every space, portal, time, and dimension, from every connection, attachment, and vessel where I left it. Anyone and anything.
And he proved that to these people, and they got off the phone literally like, oh, okay, thanks, dude. You know, not claiming like, oh, I'm going to vote for Kamala now, but so obviously dumbfounded at how dumb they were. They found their dumbness. They were like, oh, I just found out how dumb I was. Wow. So I'm popping in. It's late. I've actually already completely saved the video. And I was just about to be completed with uploading it. And then I saw this note that was on the back of a cushion. I actually bought this cushion. This Cushion Lab cushion. Just this one. I wanted both, but my new chair doesn't need a back cushion because it's so fluffy and thick. So I got the seat cushion, the seafoam green that I really wanted, and then I went ahead and covered it up anyway with the pillowcase. But anyway, that wasn't the point of me jumping back in. The point of me jumping back in was to add these notes that I took really late last night. This video, if you want the quick takeaway, if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, TLDR, the TLDR, too long, didn't read, is the difference between faith and delusion and misinformation and disinformation, and learn how to learn how to think. So faith is
lovedreamingpeach.com.
faith is believing in something that you cannot see or hear or taste or smell or touch necessarily. You cannot prove it. You cannot disprove it. You can't see it. You can't hear it. You can't smell it, taste it, or touch it. But you believe. You have faith. However, when you believe in something, even though, despite the fact that it has been factually disproved, it has been proven to be false, it's been proven not to be true, some other thing has been proven to be true, not that, and yet you still believe it, in the face of the proof of it's not being true, that is delusion. So faith can be great.
lovedreamingpeach.com.
One of my questions was that in the past I have trusted the wrong people, and as a result I've been betrayed.
Trusted them to do what?
Trusted that they had my best intentions.
Oh, all right.
And it turned out that they didn't.
Oh, all right. And now you can trust that they showed you exactly who they are.
Correct.
And so that worked for you. Because it allowed you to, again, by attracting what you don't prefer, to more clearly define what you do. And therefore they have helped you course correct. And therefore they have not in that sense betrayed you, but shown you more clarity about who you prefer to be. That's the positive way to look at that, so that you can gain a positive effect from the experience rather than a negative one. Yes?
Yes, that's true.
I know, that's why I said it.
And in the present, I've noticed that there are some people that I have in my life, and I want to trust them, but I have some sort of anxiety.
You want to trust them to do what? Put your trust in yourself. Do you understand? And trust that whatever appears in your life is what needs to be there, and then get the reflection you need to get. Trust them to be who they choose to be at that moment and learn from it, whatever expression it may be. Put your trust in yourself and your life and what it brings you as serving you in some way, shape, or form. Yes?
Yes.
Then it doesn't matter what another person may choose to do, because you will always get a beneficial effect. You will learn something from it. You will grow. Therefore, nothing that anyone else does will affect you negatively if you don't choose to align with that negative belief about it.
That's true.
I know. That's why I said these things.
So faith can be great, but if you are delusional, then you can actually be outright harming yourself and others. Because if you're acting on delusion, for example, if you believe that someone is a good man who cares about you and your well-being and is looking out for your best interest, but in fact that person is a crook, a liar, a convicted felon, a rapist, a grifter, a fraudster, a proven criminal, and you put your blind faith in that person who has been proven to not be who they claim to be, then you are delusional. And that is a problem, because when we're acting out on delusions, we can really harm ourselves and others. So the TLDR, the too long didn't read, is if you are putting your faith in something that has been proven to be false, then you are very likely delusional. However, if you're putting your faith in something that you just can't see or hear it or smell it or touch it or taste it, but you believe it, you want it to be true, that could be how you manifest something that you don't have right now. So it's not a bad thing to have faith. In fact, it's important to have faith. It's important to put your faith in things that you believe in, even before you can see them. I believe that what many manifestation coaches teach, which is that in opposition to the thought, I've got to see it to believe it, it's the opposite when you're trying to manifest something that doesn't currently exist, which is you've got to believe it to see it. But when you have actual proof that the thing isn't going to happen, or the thing isn't what you thought it was, for example, you putting your faith in a relationship working out, you just met someone, or things are going well, you're compatible, you both want the same things, you're putting your faith in that. You think that relationship's going to work out. You don't know. You're not a mind reader. You're not a fortune teller or a future seer, but you have faith in that relationship. However, if that person that you'd like to have a relationship with has been abusive towards you, has cheated on you, which is a type of abuse, they've lied to you, they're not reliable, they're inconsistent, they cancel plans, they've ghosted you, they have proven to you in some fashion or form or way that you actually should not be trusting them. You shouldn't put your faith in them or that relationship. You're not compatible. You argue. You don't want the same things. They're not available. They're with somebody else. They've said no to you. Or they're a complete stranger. You don't even know them. You don't even go here. She doesn't even go here. Or you had a relationship, but you're broken up now. They've blocked you. Or they've just moved on. Or whatever the million of reasons are, that there's evidence, there's proof, it's facts. It's not going to happen. But you're still clinging to this idea, this delusion, that you are going to manifest. There goes by a loud motorcycle. You're clinging to the idea that you're going to manifest this person, or you're going to manifest $10 million, or you're going to manifest a completely different body, or you're going to manifest something that has been absolutely proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's not going to happen, then you're being delusional. And how is this the TLDR of this video? Because that's the ultimate point. You can love Trump if you want to. You're free to do that. You're free to vote for Trump, if assuming he's still running at that point. But my thoughts and belief is that it's delusional to believe that a man who has been proven beyond any shadow of any doubt to be unfit for office, to be unfit for democracy, to, out of his own mouth, he's saying if you vote for him, you're not going to have to worry about voting again. He's going to fix it for you. Well, if that's the kind of place that you want to live in, if you listen to this man, you've looked into the things that he supports, you've looked into the organizations that he's supported by, the people that he calls fine people, the policies that he wants to implement, the policies that he wants to dismantle, the crimes that he's been convicted of committing, and you want to, in the absolute face of these cold, hard, ugly facts about this person, you want to be completely disassociated from reality and pretend in some kind of fantasy delusion, like a person who's got an SP obsession. You have an SP obsession with Donald Trump, where you are completely in this delusional situationship with someone who doesn't care about you, doesn't want your well-being, isn't actually on your team, and that's who you want to have another very serious long-term relationship with. The dictator who is telling you, once you vote for me, you ain't gonna get to vote again, Fran. That's who you want to put in power. Someone who literally incited an insurrection, an attempted insurrection, an attempted overthrow of the democratic process. You feel that that's the appropriate thing to do. Somebody who incites violence, somebody who desires a civil war. Somebody who says, fake news, it's fake news, folks, and actively spreads misinformation and disinformation. Misinformation can be just an actual mistake, a misunderstanding of what happened. You thought you saw something that you didn't see, or you thought it was something that it wasn't, but you didn't know that you didn't know. You didn't know your facts were wrong. So you're not spreading lies. You're not spreading disinformation on purpose. You just didn't know. You didn't know. But in today's day and age, where information is literally at your fingertips, you could find out. You could find out. And my opinion, which can be wildly unpopular, is that if you're supporting Trump, then you are supporting racists and hate. And you're supporting the dismantling of a democratic process that I may not be an ultimate lover of and a huge fan of, meaning I don't think that the process is super fantastic, and I do think there's a whole bunch of corruption, but I also think that it is a generally somewhat fair process. I think they should get rid of the electoral college vote, and it should be one vote equals one vote, the people's vote. That's what I think it should be. But I don't get to make that choice. However, I would rather have some say, and a chance to vote for a Democratic president who is going to fight for my rights, your rights, and everybody's rights, and not fight to segregate, to intensify racism and hate, to incite violence, to create more division, to make more people feel alienated and stripped of their civil rights and their ability to pursue happiness and financial freedom. If you truly are incapable of seeing through to who Trump really is by looking at the facts, looking at the court cases, listen to the man, listen to him for 5 minutes. He tells you who he is. He tells you what he stands for. He tells you what he despises. And if you want to vote for that, then I find your judgment highly questionable. Your character is sus, and your ideals and your mind state and what you think is good and just and important and what you're willing to throw away, I find that to be highly problematic. And again, people get to decide what they're going to decide. You can't change people's minds if their minds are set. If someone is dead set on voting one way or another because that's what they genuinely believe, then that's what they genuinely believe. And there's not really anything I can do other than make it clear what I believe in and where I stand and who I'm aligned with and what I'm not aligned with. So I have never made political stances on my channel, and many years ago I used to be very, very hyper fixated and focused on politics, and I became extremely discouraged and disgusted and realized that both sides are corrupt on some level. And I still do vote Democrat though, because overall I'm much more of a Democrat than I am not in any way Republican except for vaccinations. And yet, you know, I think it would be ideal if you could vote for more like a parliament where you can choose various people to represent different aspects, and you could actually vote for where your tax dollars are going. Like when you're paying your taxes, I think there should be boxes that say these are all the various things that the taxes go to. Which ones are you going to contribute to? And what that would do is allow people who want to contribute to war and whatever, going to outer space and whatever bullshit you want to contribute to, that's what you should get to contribute to. And whatever bullshit I want to contribute to, that's what I should get to contribute to. And the things that lack funding because people don't want to contribute to it, the things that nobody checks the boxes on, they don't get contributed to. And then those things can fall away. And then maybe there could be write-in votes, you know, and if there's enough percentage of people who say, you know, I want my taxes to go towards homeless shelters that are safe and healthy and you know, or whatever it is that you'd like to put your money towards, we should have more of a say. No taxation without representation. You know, where did that go? Nowhere. That went down the fucking tube with the T. So anyway, that was the TLDR, which became just TL. So back to the rest of the video. See ya. Hello, my lovely peaches. Some of you, your racism is showing.
At lovedreamingpeach.com.
Well, I knew when I put a video out saying vote for Kamala that I was going to learn that some of the people that have been following me for a while, liking my videos, commenting and interacting with me, were going to be revealed. We're going to be revealed as Trump lovers. And if you're a Trump lover, I cannot find it inside my heart or mind to understand how you're not racist, sexist, a not LGBTQ supporter, how you view human beings as somebody you could call an illegal alien. Literally anything that man stands for, if you stand for it, yikes. I guess I just lost a few followers. Close the door on them. Thanks for being here for the little while that you were. But I'm actually comfortable losing followers who are Trump supporters because I'm closing the door on racism. The things that he has said is so despicable. He is a literal crook. He is a felon. It's a shame, and it's scary and sad and pathetic that people would actually vote for a convicted felon. And not only that, but to be so proud in a way that you're racist. So I'm going to pop in a couple clips that I took from the Shade Room that they screenshotted of a talk where his ear is perfectly fine. As I pointed out, Dinner Pancakes showed on the video I did last night or early this morning. And so now his ear is completely healed without even a scratch left, even though he was shot in the ear just less than 2 weeks ago. And the fact that a woman could be so accomplished that she's actually the current vice president of the United States, and yet this despicable crook would call her a bum. A bum. So you could literally be the vice president of the United States and that's still unaccomplished. Your racism is showing, and it's despicable. I've seen comments and people going off on every pathetic excuse about why you wouldn't vote for her. And it's sad. So if you find yourself watching this video and you previously subscribed to me, interacted with me, had comments with me, even positive ones where you thought you liked me, but now you hear me talking about Kamala 2024 and that how if you like Trump, then you're voting for a racist crook. If that makes you unfollow me, bye, because I'm not advocating for that, and I am not. I just personally would rather have people that are here because they like my message, they like my style, you like my videos. And no, you don't have to agree with everything I say, but overall, you would be somebody who believes in justice, believes that all people, no matter what they believe in, how they look, who they love, how they dress, what religion they are, that they deserve to be safe and live in a violent-free world, and that everybody deserves that, and everybody deserves opportunities. And some people just genuinely don't believe that. Some people genuinely feel that no, they don't want those people to have opportunities. They don't want to open the doors to certain people. They don't find it in their heart to have respect for people who believe differently, look differently, live differently, think differently. And if you're that kind of person who has a very small, tiny little window of people that you find acceptable, then I'm actually shocked that you've ever followed me in the first place, because I think that I've been pretty clear and upfront from the get-go that I have love for all people except for violent criminals and racists. I don't have love for racists. I am prejudiced against racist people. And if you're racist, then you can go kick rocks somewhere else. So, you know, I'm not ashamed, nor am I afraid to stand up for what's right. And what's right is voting for Kamala Harris for president of 2024 and get rid of that guy. Did you hear that clip? So if you vote for him now, you're not going to have to vote for him in 4 years. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? If you vote for a man who's literally telling you that vote for him now and in 4 years you're not going to have to vote for him, you're not going to have to vote. We're going to fix it so you're not going to have to vote. What does that mean to you? Because it sure doesn't sound like freedom and democracy to me. It sounds like a dictatorship. It sounds like coercive control. It sounds like a scary ass mofo who should be behind bars where he belongs. And the fact that people would literally vote for a rapist, minus the G, a felon. He was convicted of paying a prostitute money, hush money, to cover up a bunch of stuff, that he's a cheater and a liar and a scammer. And that's the guy that you think is good guy. Scary. Super, super, super scary. It's so scary. It's so scary that people would vote for that guy, that you're so blindly racist, that you're so hate-filled, that you're so ignorant, whether it's willful ignorance or genuine ignorance. How can you really be that ignorant, though? How can you not spend 5 minutes listening to this man and become not ignorant? Listen to the man speak for a few minutes, and then you will know. He's telling you right there. And if you believe in the things that he's saying, then we are so diametrically opposed that, yeah, maybe you followed me and you agreed with my opinion, and maybe that should show you something. You could sit and listen to me for talking about this subject and that subject and that subject and agree with me, but at the end of the day, you want to vote for somebody who would destroy the lives of so many innocent people because they're not the religion that you are, or they're not the skin color that you are, and you don't think that that's going backwards multiple centuries back to a time that's not good. It was not great. It was not good. It was never good, unless you were a very small type window, the white Christian male. So if you're not a white Christian male who's like a neo-Nazi, white power kind of person, you really shouldn't be voting for Trump. Yesterday I was on TikTok listening to this young guy who's very intelligent, and he was doing live calls with people who voted, who want to vote for Trump. And he was speaking to them very openly and patiently, asking them that why, their reasons. And every single thing that each caller said, he was so easily able to disprove or unravel, leaving them speechless. Like, I literally heard like 4 different callers. They didn't in the end say that they were going to vote for Kamala, but they were literally saying things that made it clear that what they want to be implemented has a much better chance with Kamala. And he proved that to these people, and they got off the phone literally like, oh, okay, thanks, dude. Not claiming like, oh, I'm going to vote for Kamala now, but so obviously dumbfounded at how dumb they were. They found their dumbness. They were like, oh, I just found out how dumb I was. Wow. But that's the thing. It's like, why does somebody have to explain to you in detail the specifics of a policy that's a little bit obscure when you can just listen to the man speak with your own ears and hear the racism oozing out? The racism, the hatred, the ignorance. And if that is what you feel is aligned with you, it's scary. It's sad. And it's not what I support. And although I support different people having different opinions, when your opinion includes hateful violence against innocent people, that's where I draw the line. You're allowed to think whatever you want to think. You're allowed to love who you want to love and do what you want to do until it becomes violence against others. Until it becomes oppressing other people. Until it becomes, let's double down on the systemic racism and really seep it in. Like, let's build up some more bricks to really, really triple down, quadruple down. Let's hunker down on this racism. That's where I draw the line. That's where I say, this is my stance. This is my line in the sand, where I say, abso-fucking-lutely not. If you're a racist person, or if you're somebody who believes that Sonia Macy was killed in any kind of justifiable way, if you're someone who is going to zoom into that video and try to pick out one speck of a reason why you could justify why that disgusting, evil murderer would do what he did, get the fuck off my channel. Yeet yourself, because what? You're despicable. Your racism is showing. Your ignorance is showing. When people say disgusting things about Kamala and they don't pay attention to the fact that she was a prosecutor, she was a district attorney, she was a senator, and she's been the vice president now of the United States of America. And does that mean that I agree with everything she does? No. Does that mean I've agreed with everything that all of those people in those roles have done? No. But it does show that they are educated, they are accomplished, they're not a fucking bum. So if you want to vote for somebody who is proudly racist, proudly hate-filled, and says outright insane things like, vote for me and we will fix it so in 4 years you won't have to worry about voting again. If you don't want to worry about voting again, then maybe you don't actually want to live in a democracy. Not maybe, you don't. You don't want to live in a democracy. You want to live in a dictatorship. And that's scary. It's scary to me that people would vote in somebody who would take away your right to vote. That's what you want? So last night at 4 a.m., 4:42 a.m., I had thoughts on my mind about misinformation and disinformation based on the video that I had just put out. But it was super late and I didn't want to turn the lights on my face. So I decided to just talk and record. I was recording my cute clock. And it's a good video, I think. It's thought-provoking and, gives you something to think about. So, this is my new body pillow for my chair. I love it. Okay, so what I am hoping is that the wrong, mismatched people who may have found themselves on my channel, you'll yeet yourself off because you won't want to be here. And then the people who are aligned with what I'm talking about, equality, equal pay for everyone, equal opportunities for everyone, equal rights, equal ability to freely love who you want to love, the choice to do with your body what you choose to do with it, whether that's what you're injecting into it, what you're putting into it, what you're what surgeries you have or don't have, what medication you take or don't take. I believe that that is up to each person to decide for themselves. And if you want to take a specific doctor's advice, that's up to you to decide what doctor you respect, what doctor's advice you want, and whether or not you will even want to take that doctor's advice. That's up to you to decide. That doesn't necessarily align with the Democratic Party. However, for the most part, although I might be more aligned with an independent party or a Green Party, the fact of the matter is we live in a country where it's rigged for a two-party system, so you can run on another party. And I do believe that if there was enough of a movement and enough people who grouped together, we could vote and get a third party to win, but it's just too divisive. And it's so rigged for a two-party system that it's going to take a huge movement. But I will be so thrilled and happy to have Kamala Harris, a woman of color, as the president. I think that that's what we need. I think that it's time that this country give a woman a chance and give anybody and everybody else who's not a fundamentalist white guy, or, you know, I know that there's a lot of people who are not Christian white guys that are voting for Trump, but it baffles me. It literally baffles me how bamboozled you can be when he sits there, he stands there, and he spews hatred for everyone and anyone who isn't a white Christian guy, and you would vote for him. I just don't get it. You know, I don't understand. I don't understand how a person of color or a person who's LGBTQ plus or anyone who's not originally born on this soil, or anyone who is not a white Christian dude, fundamentalist guy. Like, you could even be a white Christian dude but not be a fundamentalist and be like, I'm not voting for that guy. I bet there's a lot of white guys that are Christian white guys that are like, I'm not voting for him. He don't go here. I don't believe in that. And the fact that there are people of color, there are people who are immigrants, there are people who are LGBTQ plus that are voting for him. It's like, wow. I just, do you listen? Do you listen to what the man says? Or you just spooning propaganda down your throat? You drank the Kool-Aid. Chisk, chisk, chisk. Well, all right. So hello, my lovely peaches. Thank you for being here. Welcome and welcome back. And if you choose to subscribe to me after this video, then, you know, hopefully that means that we are a bit aligned and that you recognize that a racist felon, a pig, a rapist is just not somebody fit for office. And wanting that person in office, and what that guy Parker on TikTok said last night was, he went bankrupt 6 times, or 6 bankrupted businesses. So even people saying, oh, he's a businessman, that's why I'm voting for him. You are lying to yourself, or you are being willfully ignorant, or you're making excuses because you are so deeply racist that you will say anything to vote for anyone but a black woman. Make any excuse. I literally saw people saying she's not even black. She's not American. It's like people who have hatred will say anything to justify their hatred. And I am not aligned with that. So after this, I'm going to put the video that I made at 4 a.m. and I'll see you in the next one. Or not. Bye.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote. Again, Christians. It was so bad, and they pretended it was good. And they're doing the same thing with her. She was a bum. It was so bad, and they pretended it was good. And they're doing the same thing with her. She was a bum 3 weeks ago. She was a bum 3 weeks ago. She was a bum. A failed vice president in a failed administration. It was so bad, and
less literate than an average sixth grader. Did you know that anyone, including news companies, can publish lies and claim to be publishing news? There are no laws or regulations that say journalists or reporters must tell the truth, because the information in the headline and the fold and above the fold might be reading from a teleprompter on Wednesday night as you go by us here. Do they know that Biden has a... Of course. Yes, I can explain this. Platforms like TikTok. Do you remember when I told you? Does that look like a bullet went less than a quarter of an inch from his head? And why did Lindsey Graham today, of all people, in order to get ahead of these pictures?
Now we know that someone is 100% lying. So first, Ronnie Jackson, who was not a practicing medical doctor, he's a congressman from Texas, issued a letter to Congress about what happened to Trump. And in it, he said that there was a 2-centimeter wide wound that extended down through cartilage of the ear. Yesterday, the FBI Director Christopher Wray testified that there's some questions about whether it was a bullet or shrapnel that hit Trump's ear. That kicked off a firestorm of people thinking that the FBI was kicking up skepticism around what happened. In fact, it led to Senator Lindsey Graham issuing this letter to Christopher Wray, compelling him to change his testimony. It is clear, the letter says, to everyone that President Trump survived an assassination attempt by millimeters, as the attempted assassin's bullet ripped the upper part of his ear. Why is Lindsey Graham telling the director of the FBI to update his testimony? Let's keep going forward in time until this next part. The FBI issues a statement to the press saying that what struck former President Trump in the ear was a bullet or a fragment of a bullet. So the FBI director testified and said there's still some questions about what actually happened to Trump's ear. That was after Ronnie Jackson came out and said that there was a 2-centimeter wide wound that extended down through or on top of the ear's cartilage. Head on over to newsroom.ap.org. This is the Associated Press's website where you can search for photos that they've uploaded. You're going to type in this number. This is the identification number of a very specific photo that was uploaded today. When you execute the search, you're going to be taken to the photo associated with that ID. You can open up this photo, read the caption. You can see it's former President Donald Trump today. So you tell me, is this the ear of somebody who survived an assassination attempt by millimeters? Now we know that someone is 100. Do you know who Pete Souza is? Pete Souza is a talented and accomplished White House photographer. I was trying to figure out why Google search results for his account on this service was showing Ronnie Jackson and text that he didn't write. Come to find out, his account appears to be deleted. Here's the last thing Pete posted.
Well, let's just take a little zoom in, a little zoomy zoom. What does that look like to you? To ask a question that Dinner Pancakes poses, has Trump ever conspired to create violence that caused death of an American citizen on American soil for his own gain? Yes or no?
Morning. This morning I woke up to another community guidelines violation and another video marked ineligible for the FYP. That video is the one I'm duetting right now. The video is a screen recording of me on my phone going through a public archive of editorial photos published by the Associated Press. They're photos of Donald Trump, and it's clearly showing his ear yesterday. The photos are all taken yesterday. The photos are all publicly available. The photos are available from the Associated Press's newsroom website for anybody to log in and verify. All of this is editorial content. All of this is public content. I've made no assertions. I've made no assumptions. I have shown the data that is publicly available. And yet TikTok has decided to suppress this information and data. Why is that?
So I just screen recorded really quickly this article from Gene Puskar. He's an AP Associated Press photographer, and he just talks about how he was assigned to be there at that time, at that place, and the reason that he got that photo of Trump was because he was assigned to be there. So I just wanted to show that. If you want to read the article, you can go on and read it for yourself, or you can try to pause and read it here. I also screen recorded. This is Trump calling Kamala Harris evil. I put him on mute just a day or two ago, but look at his ear. There you go. It's on video. So there's photographic and video evidence that he has absolutely no damage whatsoever to his ear less than 2 weeks after he was supposedly shot in the ear with a bullet. And that's his evil running mate.
At lovedreamingpeach.com.
Turned off all the lights. It's actually 2:54 a.m. Kind of wanted to talk for a minute. So I really should be going to sleep. Of course, it's 2:55 a.m. So Dinner Pancakes is someone I recently found, and I've seen that he's gained about 10,000, 5 or 10,000 new subscribers since the whole allegedly attempted assassination attempt. And anyway, I really wanted to talk about a few videos that he made. He's very eloquent, and he talks about critical thinking in a way that is, he sounds so smart. He's really smart, and he speaks on a high intellectual level, I feel like. And he's very calm, and he seems like a really good teacher. And I feel like I'm a smart person, but maybe I talk a little bit more like everyday kind of talk. At least it seems like that to me. And he was making excellent points about misinformation and disinformation and bot farms and trolls and highly ignorant people and people who just kind of regurgitate sound bites that really just push disinformation. And he did a really good video where he talked about how the media can outright lie and how a headline can be completely false, and then the blurb, and I'm paraphrasing, the blurb that you read that is before either the paywall or the part where you have to click more, which most people don't bother to read, is often misleading, if not outright lie. And I follow Rick Hogue on YouTube,
AG. He's a lawyer. And I don't know if he's still currently doing it, but he used to do every morning. He would do headlines and lies. I don't know exactly what he called it, but he would go in depth about that exact subject, how the media will outright lie, and they will also, so they will have an extremely misleading headline, and then the little blurb will completely falsify what the information actually says in the article or the report or the study or in the actual news. You know, for example, in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, I was watching the trial every single day, 8 hours of testimony and witnesses and stuff like that. And then there would be headlines that were absolute lies, total garbage, that literally would lie about what had happened. And if you were like most people and you only read headlines, then you're going to have a complete false belief based on a lie. So Dinner Pancakes also talked about the bot farms, and then the people who are, again, I'm paraphrasing, I'm using my own words. So I consider there's a difference between actual ignorance, like you're just genuinely ignorant, you just don't know. You don't know, and you don't know that you don't know, and then maybe you're misinformed. Maybe you falsely believe the wrong thing. So you can be ignorant but not really know it, and then you cannot know you're ignorant and believe you know something which is false. So you're not malicious or malignant or intending. You're not willfully ignorant. You're not outright ignoring something in your face or deliberately lying. Here we go again. It's incredibly early or late, and I just thought, oh yeah, I have a really good example of myself. Let me get some light on in here. Let's see. So for 18 years, let me see if I can get light. So I just wanted to add that for 18 years I was an ignorant vegetarian. Ignorant vegetarian because I didn't know. I actually believed the lies that I was told as a child, that cows make milk and that drinking milk doesn't hurt the cow. In fact, it helps the cow, and that the dairy cows aren't killed. And somehow it's like a magical thing. And then one time I had an argument with my brother, who's a meat and dairy eater, and this argument happened like 15 years ago. So I had become vegan, and after many, many years of being vegetarian, but just not knowing, like I just, for me, it was like the ick factor. Eating animals felt wrong. It felt disgusting. I felt like I was eating a friend. I was like, or just something I didn't want to eat, you know, like whether it was a cute animal or an ugly animal. I was like, yuck, I don't want to eat dead stuff, like dead corpses. Ugh, you know, I deeply identify with the oneness, the all oneness of beingness. And ever since I was a little girl, ever since I was tiny, that's just what was right and real and my genuine self. And when I became 18, I told my parents, who believed that meat and dairy was essential for your health, I'm not eating meat ever again. And then, but I still ate dairy, and I was addicted to dairy by that point. And then when I got pregnant with my first son, I became vegan. And then I had an argument with my brother because he believed that meat and dairy is essential for your health, and that what I was doing was bad and wrong. And he asked me a whole bunch of questions, and I was like, you know what? I don't know. I genuinely don't know the answers to any of those questions. And that set me forth on a path which became lovedreamingpeach.com. And I spent maybe 10 years of research and learning, and I got my plant-based certificate, plant-based nutrition certification from eCornell, and Dr. John McDougall recently passed away, which is so heartbreaking. He is one of my heroes. He's one of my heroes, and he had no ailments or illnesses. He passed away 77 years old, peacefully in his sleep, they said, and I had hoped that he would live to be in his late 90s like the other two doctors I follow and love, Esselstyn and Caldwell Campbell. But the point is that I didn't know, and I had false beliefs, and I basically believed industry lies. I believed industry lies, and I believed the things I was told, and I grew up and still live in a place where meat and dairy is ubiquitous, and the majority of people are not vegan, and they still believe the lies, the industry lies, and they still are ignorant to the health crisis that meat and dairy has created, and the environmental crisis and everything that's involved with that. But that's not what this is about. What this is about is that I was genuinely ignorant. I wouldn't call it willfully ignorant, because I genuinely didn't know. And there was like 2 or 3 years where I was transitioning from vegetarian to vegan, and I wasn't doing research. I wasn't finding out, and I struggled. I struggled and I struggled and I struggled. And then I had that argument with my brother, and I did research, and it went like, whoop, oh, now I know. And now I'll never go back to eating that shit ever again. I used to struggle because I was struggling with a false belief, a lot of false beliefs. And then when I learned the truth, I was like, oh, there's no more struggle now, because now I know the truth. So now I'm making an informed decision for my health, for the well-being of other beings, for the well-being of my children, for the future of the earth, for the trees, for the water, for the air, for everything. And yes, so I was genuinely ignorant, and then I learned. But see, for me, once I learned, I could never become willfully ignorant. I could never get back to that cognitive dissonance. I could never put the veil back over my eyes. I could never pretend and lie to myself that I don't know what I know. I couldn't see, but I also highly value what I think about myself. So there's a lot of people who, when they're by themselves, when you're by yourself, if you're not the kind of person who's going to do the right thing because you're the one looking, like there's some people who genuinely feel, well, when there's nobody looking, I can do whatever I want to do, even if it's bad and harmful. But I am the kind of mindset person that says, well, when nobody else is around and looking, I'm still looking. I have a witness self. And I realize that that's something that some people don't even know what it means, let alone have it. Like, I have a me that's watching me while I'm being me, because I'm not really a me. I'm a vibrational being temporarily I'm a eternal vibrational being temporarily living in a physical body. But I can see myself functioning. I know what I'm doing. I know how I show up. If I lie, I know that. I have standards for myself about how I feel about myself. what I do when nobody's looking matters the most, because I'm the one looking and I'm the one that cares about what I think first and foremost. Because if I can't sleep at night, I can't sleep at night. That's why I'm up at this fucking time. But it's not because of shit I've done. It's because of things other people have done to me. And that keeps me up at night, even though it happened 45 years ago. But that also is something that makes me aware. I don't want to be fucking keeping myself up at night for how I've shown up and what I've done. That's why I'm willing to get on the internet, get up on these internet streets and say, I'm not racist, but I absolutely despise people who are. I won't say I'm not prejudiced. I am prejudiced. I have prejudices, and I'm prejudiced against racist people. I'm prejudiced against people who think that other human beings could be considered an illegal alien. I am prejudiced against people who want to dictate how others ought to live, or what they should believe in, or how they should dress, or what they should wear, or who they should love, or what they should do to their own bodies. So, but yeah, I just wanted to use an example of how I, for many, many, many years, was genuinely ignorant. I believed the lies that I was told my whole childhood, and then I had to do my own research. I had to step outside the box. I had to figure out how to think critically and learn who made the study, follow the money, who benefits, and why did they do the study, and what was their goal, and what were they trying to prove, and who was profiting, and are the results consistent, and are the results consistent with what feels right and good and natural to me. And that's why I'm vegan, and that's why I have a blog about it. Because, oh yeah, by the way, my brother never wanted to know any of the answers. That's why I made a blog. So disinformation is when you basically lie and you spread lies because you're intending to spread false information. For example, I saw in the comments somebody on some YouTube channel I was watching, and they were talking about cold-blooded murder of the innocent Sonia Macy by that evil, racist, disgusting, despicable man, barbarian, who was a cop who killed her in cold-blooded murder, fabricated a fake-ass thing. And anyway, so there was some totally willfully ignorant racist troll in the comments who kept repeating, she threatened him. She threatened to throw the water at him, which was an outright lie. And everybody was saying, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. Okay, and what Dinner Pancakes was talking about is there are people like that where they know that they're lying. They are willfully, they are on purpose rage bait. That's the term. They are trying to rage bait you. And why I'm mentioning this and why I keep mentioning Dinner Pancakes, I don't know what his real name is, mentioning it is because there are people who will do this on purpose just to enrage you and to exhaust you and to try to get you to fight a unwinnable argument, because in fact they are, they're mudslinging. They're just trying to enrage you. They're just name calling and just lying and twisting facts, taking things and just straight up lying. And so the point of this video is don't fall for it. I posted the last 2 videos that I made here. I combined them and I put them together, and they're side by side, and it's a little kind of like, oh, I should have put a warning for flash. But anyway, some totally willfully ignorant rage bait person, which made me really sad because they had the name vegan in their name, which makes me think you're not really vegan. But they wrote a comment on my video about vote for Kamala. If you vote for Kamala, you're racist. And I just responded, troll? It's like, it's so ludicrous. I can't even begin to respond. And more people need to elevate your own intelligence by realizing that sometimes people just want to argue with you just because they want to fling the mud. If you want to wrestle with a pig, they will enjoy it. They love the mud. It's fun for them. They enjoy making you feel unhinged. They being people who like to rage bait by dropping comments that are so clearly just hateful, ignorant, willfully ignorant, racist, and intended to stir hatred and discord and discontent, and people who claim to be Democrats but then are out here hating on Kamala. Like, do a little bit of research. Stop you being racist. Are you actually trying to help Trump win? If you're out here claiming to be a Democrat and you're shitting on Kamala, then you might as well just admit that you are racist, or you don't actually care about women's rights, LGBTQ rights, healthcare, or basically any kind of decency. People who, were not born on this soil having rights. And, if you're here on this soil, the chances are very slim that you were an indigenous person. So this whole country is set up on. So that's AM. It's 4:42 AM. Hello, my lovely peaches. I don't know why I get these bursts of energy this late, this early, whatever you want to call it. It's way too dark, too late. I'm not turning the light back on myself, but I thought, let me try to capture these thoughts. I was like, well, I have these thoughts. I'm thinking about the video I just made about rage bait and disinformation and misinformation, and I really thought, I want to make a video about humility as per election edition, which goes after, if you go to my YouTube channel, Cat Love Dreaming Peach, I have, the video is called Humility as per SP Obsession Edition, and I thought I really wanted to do one for this election. So misinformation is information that's false or mistaken, misguided, misspoken. It's wrong. It's wrong information, but it's not necessarily a lie. It could be a lie, but it also might just be a mistake of some kind. And then disinformation is actually an outright lie, an outright falsifying of information so that what is true no longer appears true. And now something that's an actual outright lie is being spread as truth. There was a typo in the auto-generated captions of my last video where I spoke the words twisting facts, and it heard or caption auto-created posting facts.
And that right there is misinformation, because what I said was twisting facts, but what the AI caption generated heard was posting facts. So if you read those captions but you don't hear me, and actually, even if you do hear me, you are more likely to mishear me saying posting facts than to correctly hear me saying twisting facts. Because if you're looking at the words on the screen while you're listening, that will bias what you hear, as well as what you perceive. And then what you perceive that you heard is what you then perceive to be true, which then will color what you believe is true, which will then taint or impact, influence what you know to be true. So when all of those things are predicated on misinformation or an actual lie, or, it could be information that was just perceived. Maybe it wasn't an actual lie, but there was something in the way, so that when you perceived what you perceived, it's not that you were lying or that you were intentionally falsifying records. It's just that from your vantage point, you could only see what you could see, and you didn't know that you couldn't see what you couldn't see. Like I said in the other video, there's a difference between being actually ignorant. You are genuinely ignorant to something. You're ignorant to the fact that you're ignorant to it, meaning you don't know what you don't know. Like Donald Rumsfeld, his infamous speech, which was actually kind of brilliant. It was brilliant, but it was simple. And it was inappropriate at the time, but in a philosophical sense, it was brilliant, because there are the known unknowns. There's the known unknowns. There's the known knowns. There's the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. There's the things that we know, and then there's the things that we know that we don't know. And then there's the things that we don't know that we don't know. And then there's things that we don't even know exist. We don't even know about it to know not to know it. And then there's the human senses, which are limited. And there's extra, human beings call them extra sensories, because if it's not the basic 5, then most humans get all bent out of shape. I mean, there are cultures all over the world and throughout history that have honored and cherished and deeply developed the additional senses beyond the main 5. But, depending on who and where you are, you may believe that those things are just woo-woo garbage, or you may believe in it more than it may be warranted, or anywhere along the spectrum. And like I say in this new playlist that I started, which I made some comments, it's definitely going to offend some people. But it says, I'm willing to take a stance and I'm willing to be honest about how I feel. Everybody deserves love and money, opportunities and happiness and joy. I believe most people are inherently good, and survival of the cooperationists is actually what I believe Darwinism teaches us. And now this might sound hypocritical in a sense, but I wrote, also, if I lose followers because I outwardly reject racism, sexism, ageism, ableism, and people who believe in controlling someone or controlling how people in general express themselves based on their privates, body parts, aka people who say things like, well, it's biology, if it's this, if you got this genitals, then you're this, if you got that genitals, you're that, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and that's actually like 4th grade level knowledge. And like Dinner Pancake said, 50% of the United States read at a 6th grade level. So, and while I might not know all the scientific names of everything, what I do know is that when you get to higher level learning and you learn that there's a lot more going on than just 1, 2, 3, and there's a lot of fluidity happening in every area of life, whether it's your neurodivergent or whatever, your skin color, your religion, your belief system, your diet, your climate where you live, your financial intelligence, or your socioeconomical place, your opportunities. The list goes on, and there's a spectrum that's endless, and it goes from an infinite side over there to an infinite side over there. And the humility to recognize that people will believe a whole wealth and galaxies of multiverses of galaxies different than you, and there's really no way you can change that, and trying to change that is short-sighted. And being willing to be, as Abraham Hicks says, on the cutting edge of something new, something exciting, something that is modern, something that helps everyone grow, everyone to manifest abundance and joy and happiness. That's what I'd like. I don't want to go back to hate and racism and segregation and less diversity and more division. So anyway, that's my 4 a.m. thoughts, 4:50.
CatLoveDreamingPeach.com